Well, joining us tonight is Sidney Powell. She is the defense attorney for General Michael Flynn. And Tom Fitton, who is the president of Judicial Watch. And we thank you both for being with us. We want to point out that Tom is also the author of A Republic Under Assault, the left's ongoing attack on American freedom. We recommend it to you highly. Well, we're going to turn, Sidney, first to you. Emmett Sullivan. This is a man who strikes most Americans as utterly unreasonable and single-handedly trying to persecute a man who was framed by a corrupt FBI, and he knows that very well. What is happening here?
Well, unfortunately, Lou, we filed a motion to recuse him on October 7th that is very thorough. And this is just another reason why that motion should have been granted. He just continues to defy the order of the D.C. court to decide it with dispatch. And anybody who thought he just wanted to have a hearing is now belied by this conduct. The government, as I understand it, is going to go ahead and comply by Monday with the order, so it shouldn't cause any further delay. But all of this could have been handled on October 7th, if not before. And he certainly hasn't expressed any concern for all the false statements that were made by federal agents that led to General Flynn's prosecution.
I realize that this question may be difficult for you to answer because you'll be before the judge. But is he mentally unbalanced? Or is this an effort by a tool of the left to keep Michael Flynn from his rightful freedom ahead of the election? What is this?
All I can say is that the longer it takes, the more political it looks. And at the hearing itself, if people want to read the transcript on my website at sydneypowell.com, they can make their own determinations of how political it seems to be. There was actually a conversation about delaying it until after the new Attorney General came in or a new administration.
Outrageous. Tom, your thoughts on this and the actions of Emmett Sullivan, and what is now clearly, at least partially, a politically corrupt federal judiciary.
Yeah, I think it's broader than Judge Sullivan at this point. You had the D.C. Circuit Court, controlled by liberals, essentially endorse his behavior, saying move it along, but really putting no teeth behind that order, while simultaneously, in our case, for instance, saying Hillary should be exempt from testimony in an extraordinary fashion. And it was almost a one-for-one. We're going to give a favor to Hillary Clinton.
The Attorney General said the same thing.
Well, unfortunately,
the Attorney General, William Barr, basically said the same thing, that there wouldn't be any questioning of Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden on Obamagate. And we know that there is every reason in the world to question much of their activities.
That's true.
It goes well beyond that. I want to turn to what we're watching here with Joe Biden. More evidence coming out, spilling out every day, Tom. And in front of the American people last night, a man who was a business associate, Tony Bobulinski, not under oath, so I guess he wasn't testifying, but making a very straightforward claim that Joe Biden knew about Hunter Biden's business dealings, which were corrupt on their face. Your thoughts about the impact of that and where it will lead, if there is to be any justice at all in this country?
Well, we got three scandals going on at once. You have the Biden corruption, the RICO activity that we're now getting the full details on. We have the big tech cover-up and big media cover-up of that. And on top of that, the coup impeachment cover-up of that, which was all about impeachment of Trump, was to protect Biden and company. And then we have the other cover-up, which we're referencing in the beginning, which is the FBI Justice Department cover-up on it. They knew, Biden knew, about Hunter's business dealings in China and Ukraine and elsewhere. There's zero excuse for what's been going on. If I were the president, I'd take the investigation away from the Justice Department, away from the FBI, give it to a separate entity, a separate individual appointed by him directly. And let me just say this, no matter what happens on Election Day, what we're hearing about today and this week is serious consequences for Joe Biden, whether or not he's president. And they're not going to be, I don't even think, I'm not saying he'll be convicted of a crime, but they will not be able to derail an investigation given the gravity of what's going on, whether or not he's elected.
I want to get your judgment as a former prosecutor, Sidney, as to where you would be on the evidence that you've heard and read and seen now about Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the family, and its involvement, apparent involvement, in a host of schemes that look a lot like political corruption.
Well, between the Bobulinski information and electronic data and the Hunter Biden laptop and hard drive and the tape of Vice President Biden talking about getting the Ukrainian prosecutor fired himself by withholding money, I think there is more than enough evidence to have warranted an indictment of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden multiple months ago, and I can't tell you how livid I am with the FBI for not having dealt with all of this immediately on the obvious crimes that the evidence shows were happening. Biden effectively pimped out his own son to China and Ukraine executives, company heads, whatever, to bring in money for the family. And the evidence is that Biden wanted 50% of it himself. Hunter wrote an email to his niece about that, or his daughter. And it's just absolutely appalling. The entire country should be outraged by this, because to be this close to an election and have a candidate so corrupted in so many ways, whether it's FARA violations, abject fraud, dishonest services, any number of crimes committed, RICO violations, it's hideous.
Tom, your judgment about this?
You know, the president tried to warn us about this. You know, he asked Ukraine what was going on with Burisma, and for that, the left and the Democrat allies of Biden went crazy. And now we know why there was this overreaction that they tried to tear up the Constitution to remove him from office. Who knew that Ukraine was just a side hustle for the Biden clan? That the big money was in China or in other countries? The FBI can't be trusted to handle this. It's the Wiener laptop all over again. If left to their own devices, we'll have an IG report in 3 years, raising questions, but no conclusions one way or another, whether politics played a role in their ignoring the evidence on the laptop. Enough is enough. The president should take exercise his powers under the Constitution to enforce the law. And unfortunately, he can't rely on the DOJ or the FBI to do it. We don't need another Durham. We need someone outside those corrupt agencies to take care of this.
And let me ask you, as we look at this evidence, Senator Johnson, the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, has his witness ready to testify before the committee today. And then the FBI says, we want to interview him. Do you believe that was coincidental, and do you first, at this point, after watching the conduct of the FBI over these last 5 years anyway, do you believe this was an attempt to silence Bobulinski, to intimidate him?
I would be very cautious if I were him about talking to the FBI. I would, given the experience of people like General Flynn. Look, you know, the dirty little secret in this town is there are no dirty little secrets. I guarantee you everyone knew about what Biden was up to. Many senators know about it. We have information coming from other sources that from these emails and other similar documents that there were other senators who are implicated in this as people that they should go to if they were looking for references and contacts on Hunter Biden's dealings. This scandal, if it involves the vice president of the United States for a period of time, you can bet it involves other top politicals here. It helps explain why they were willing to blow up the Constitution to take out President Trump.
Exactly.
Sidney, you get the last word.
Yes, I agree with everything Tom just said. They are so afraid of what they've done. That's why we've had the whole crusade to try to destroy President Trump. It's not just Vice President Biden or Hunter. It is many of them. They know it. They're guilty. All of their rage has been out of their own guilt.
Sidney Powell and Tom Fitton, thanks for being with us here tonight.